So it's going to be really interesting where you go. I personally believe that in this draft, there's not a single person that will have end this career, barring injury, than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
We are heading up to New England, talking with two amazing reporters for the Patriots ahead of the draft, going to the Senior Bowl, talking to some folks, and getting some information that Patriots brass, Patriots fans, and Patriots talking heads are going to have to understand, since they have the third pick in the NFL draft. So let's jump over to it.
Evan Lazar and Tamara Brown wheels down in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. Evan, the hot topic every year for the draft is the quarterbacks. How have the ones here fared out?
Well, there's the number 3 quarterback in this draft is not here in Mobile, but what I was really...
Okay, the number 3 quarterback, according to most, and the one that I believe CBS, it is CBS NFL's most recent, has the Patriots taking Jaden Daniels from LSU, 6'4", 210 senior quarterback. So
looking forward to seeing is there somebody on day 2, number 34, let's say, just for the Patriots' sake of things, that if the Patriots wanted to go Marvin Harrison Jr. at the top of the draft, Joe Alt at the top of the draft, maybe Bo Nix, Michael Penix.
Penix is going to be a really interesting one. He's had injury issues, so that could give you problems in the long term. I believe he's also older. Same thing with Nix. And Nix did not have a good Senior Bowl. So it's going to be really interesting with those two, because Penix at one point could have won an MVP. Bo Nix was running, or not MVP, I apologize, a Heisman. Same thing with Bo Nix. Of course, it ends up going to Jaden Daniels. So it's going to be really interesting where you go. I personally believe that in this draft, there's not a single person that will have end this career, barring injury, than Marvin Harrison Jr. So he would be the person I would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, whatever I needed to take him. If he's available, he is the number 1 get. That's just me, though.
I haven't been completely wowed by either one of those guys. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can when I say this about Bo Nix. He's struggled out here this week. He's looked a little flustered in this offense that they've been running, and I just haven't really seen him ever find a rhythm. He made a nice throw, his last throw of the first 2 days on a wheel route down the sideline. That was a nice ball, but overall I thought that he's been a little bit shaky here this week. Penix hasn't had a ton of help from his receivers. He had a couple drops here today by his wideouts, but overall neither one of them were really wowing me or impressing me to the point where I could really commit to that strategy that I was just talking about.
Yes, I can. Okay, like I said, Bo Nix wasn't great, but Drake May is apparently going to fall, so you have the potential to get Drake May. Caleb might go too, because the rumors the Bears might take Marvin Harrison Jr. Or trade out of it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that all falls. If Penix has guys dropping it, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to give it to Penix. And I'm one of the people that thought that Bo Nix would be a year or so behind Justin Herbert's development, both from Oregon, both same sort of quarterback. But again, we're seeing Herbert was immediately able to translate in the NFL. So if all of a sudden, say, for example, Bo Nix does end up on a roster and does end up starting and does turn into a Herbert or something like that, a lot of these pundits are going to be freaking out. Same thing with Penix. Whereas, the biggest knock against Penix, other than the drops in the Senior Bowl and stuff like that, was that he had an injury history. So there's a lot more going into this. Do you take Jaden Daniels? Sure. If Jaden Daniels doesn't pan out and you lose out on a possible number 1 wide receiver of the decade, I think I'd rather take the wide receiver. No offense, we could figure out the quarterback. Just saying.
After the quarterbacks, everyone wants to know about the shiny toys, the offensive skill positions.
Yeah.
What have you liked out of them?
Roman Wilson. I mean, he's put on an absolute show these last couple of days. Thought on day 1 it was the route running, the separation and one-on-ones. The end of practice today, Quinton Mitchell, Toledo cornerback, is going to go in the first round, calls him out, says, I want number 1, put Roman Wilson up against me, and he makes the one-handed catch of the week on a one-on-one rep against Quinton Mitchell. I think Roman Wilson's been open all day, 24/7 out here. Lad McConkey, your guy, has been pretty good out here as well. He's looked very impressive with his route running. And how about Brendan Rice from USC? Yes, Jerry Rice.
I'm of the salt that Brendan Rice should absolutely be drafted by a team, because if he is a half of Jerry Rice, that's a wide receiver number one.
His son, a much different player than Jerry Rice. Not the route runner, not the technician that his father is. More of a big outside vertical threat that can play the X receiver spot. He's been very impressive with his hands, his body control, his ability to run routes. I've really liked what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he's the one that I'm a Carolina Panthers fan personally. If he falls to us, I'll take him. Take him and run with it.
And after those two groups, the quarterbacks, the skill positions, you got to look at the guys in the trenches. What have you liked from the offensive linemen?
Look, the Patriots had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. We know that. So offensive line is a major need for this team. I'm going to start with Oklahoma's Tyler Guyton, who is an absolute mammoth of a man. 6'7", 330 pounds, 34-inch arms, checks every single measurables box. He's only played tackle for a few years. He actually started out as a tight end, converted to tackles, but you see that athleticism still as a tight end, his foot speed, his ability to mirror edge rushers. He was extremely impressive down here this week. So I'm looking at him as someone that could be in that late first round, early second round conversation.
That's an interesting one. I didn't think a convergent tight end would really translate, but then I guess Kittle and some of those guys could absolutely be linemen if they really wanted to. But man, if you're going to go for a lineman, then really go for a lineman. Trade your third pick down to, the 8 to 12 spot, pick up a great lineman, some extra picks, and then really try to add stuff in there, especially if you're not going to go for the high-end one. If you're not going to end up with, a Caleb Williams, a Marvin Harrison Jr., then why bother? That's just my opinion. But obviously the Patriots have a new philosophy, a new coach, and a lot of stuff that's in flux. So once they get those coaches in there and everything, and then establish what they really want to do long term, that's when we'll finally be able to establish, hopefully pre-draft, about what the Patriots are really going to do with that third overall pick.
Thanks, Evan. For more coverage from the Senior Bowl, go to patriots.com.
Hey, shout out to the Patriots. You guys do a great work over there. Obviously, this one is a very small video, just kind of talking about the basics of the Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl had a lot of great moments, had a lot of rough ones, especially for quarterbacks, like they were talking about Nix, Penix, and a few others. Obviously, again, the idea that Drake May might fall as well. So it's going to be a really interesting draft. The Patriots are prepared. What are they going to do with number 3? I'm not sure. If you know, drop it in the comments below. If you want more reactions, breakdowns, or anything else, make sure to subscribe to the socials below as well. Hopefully you have a good rest of the day. I appreciate you rolling with us. Peace.